I think that's one of the biggest things about being a birder, is being able to look at kind of the size and shape of something and going like, oh, that's a finch, that's a tit, whatever. And I think a lot of that comes down to, like I said, size, kind of shape of head, whether it's kind of sitting up or down, size of bill, shape of bill, and I think being able to just kind of put all those little things together, which sounds complicated, but it's not. It's just kind of looking at things over and over.
First.
And that's when you get to the point where, say you've got a crow and a raven next to each other, and in theory they're both big black birds, but you can look at that one and go, oh, it's got like a big chunky bill, so it's a raven. And I think that does really come from just spending lots of time looking at things.
Like a rook and a crow, a white beak, can it? And
like you've got all these different kind of quite similar looking birds.
Start off like that.
Yeah, but you'll talk to kind of a birder and they'll be like, oh, of course it's that. How did you not realise it has three fewer like feathers in it, but it does all become obvious.
It can get very kind of complex. I've always found it difficult when you've got wood warblers and reed warblers and willow warblers, and they're really hard to tell apart. But I think
they're not like they are. You're getting into what some bird watchers called like LBJs, or little brown jobs, where it's kind of you're getting into lots of small brown birds.
Yeah.
Now, you've been sending in your birding questions, and Dr. Mya-Rose Craig is here to help answer them.
I've seen 2 pigeons doing a weird dance on my balcony, lots of bowing and puffing out chests. Is it too early for them to be nesting? What are your thoughts on pigeons?
What you might with wood pigeons?
Yeah.
All right, aren't they?
Yeah, you don't mind them,
No, I don't mind them. They provide food for sparrowhawks. A lot of sparrowhawks take them down and stuff like that, and other species. But I quite like them. I like the sounds they make. I think everybody likes that cawing sound, aren't they?
I do, yeah. I'm very fond of them. I guess you're right as well. That's why there are so many peregrines in the cities, because they've got lots of pigeons to eat.
Absolutely.
But this is why there are so many pigeons everywhere, because unlike other birds, they don't really have a breeding season. They just, whenever weather permits, will have another brood. Yeah, basically.
Like rabbits.
But it means they can have like multiple sets of eggs every year, which is why the numbers increase so quickly. So pigeons having a bit of a flirt on your balcony, they probably are about to have another set of eggs.
Now things are going to start getting busy in the bird world, because for many species, this is when romance is in the air. From around March through to September, birds across the UK are pairing up, setting up territories, and getting down to the serious business of breeding.
I've just been sat here, it's really still and quiet, and there's a trio of red-breasted mergansers just in front of me. And both of the males are starting to do their flirty courtship display.
For many birds, courtship is all about being noticed.
This morning I could hear wren singing, blackbird, song thrush, robin, a few dunnocks in the last week have been singing as well. And so they make quite an easy, small, manageable mouthful to begin with before the great big feast of birdsong arrives throughout April and May. And of course, birdsong means one thing. When it's ramping up at this time of year, it means it's the season of flirtation. It's beginning. Birds are getting ready to flirt, to court, to mate, to lay a clutch of eggs and to raise a brood, which is really exciting. I'm getting stalked by this robin as well, which is good, which is exactly where I said it was going to nest. It's already got a little territory just there on the side of the beach, which is exciting. And I mentioned one particular bird that had started singing earlier, and that is the dunnock. The dunnock is a very small, quintessential little brown job bird, quite easy to overlook and to miss if you have them, in a garden or under bird feeders. They scuttle around on the floor quite a lot. They're brown and grey mottled. You could easily mistake them for a house sparrow. Indeed, they are known as hedge sparrows, even though they're not proper sparrows. And they're just funny little birds. And for years, they were overlooked. They were just seen as a really average, normal, standard garden bird. And that was until people started studying the sex life of the dunnock. And it turns out it's actually quite wild. So dunnocks, depending on their local situation and depending on the territories that they've got knocking about, you can have situations where you have a typical monogamous pair, so a male and a female couple up, mate, produce a brood, raise it, happily ever after. You also have situations where a single male can have a couple of females, so he can mate with 2 different females or maybe more and raise a couple of different broods. Now obviously that's quite hard work for him because it involves, first of all, a lot of mating. Dunnocks can mate up to 100 times a day. Each time it's only lasting for like a fraction of a second or a couple of seconds. So there's a lot of mating to do, and then there's a lot of parenting to do. If you've got 2 nests that you're provisioning, that's a lot of food you've got to gather, there's a lot of beaks that you've got to keep fed. The other thing that happens with dunnocks is you will get one female who mates with 2 or more males. It can be several. And you can get to the point where a single female dunnock has got a brood of chicks that has multiple fathers. So she will find different males within her area, perhaps if she's on the edge of several territories. She'll mate with each of those males, perhaps hundreds of times, over the course of a few days as she builds up her clutch. And then those males will each look after that nest as if it's simply his own. He's the father of the entire brood. So she gets lots of extra help. She really benefits from this arrangement. Now, over the evolution of the dunnock, the males have kind of cottoned onto this. And so they've developed a strategy to try and prevent other males from mating with the female that they've managed to pair with. And that is where the concept of cloacal pecking comes in. Now, cloacal pecking is the pecking of the cloaca. The cloaca is it's an all-purpose orifice on a bird. It's the place where they defecate from. It's the place where if they're a female, they lay eggs from. It's the place where they mate from. So if one female has been mating with a male dunnock, perhaps those 100 times in a day or whatever, and she meets another male, if he suspects that she's already mated with a male, he can start cloacal pecking, basically pecking at her cloaca. And he'll do this for ages until it's basically swollen and pink. If you've ever seen this, it's really quite obscene to watch. And eventually she'll actually eject her rival's sperm. So she'll cast out the sperm from her previous matings, and instead then she will mate with the new male, and hopefully he will become the father of her offspring. What he doesn't know is that she also mated with that male the day before, and she'll probably do it again the day after. So she still benefits from this arrangement, but it's just really fascinating, gross and weird and wonderful piece of behaviour from the humble dunnock and its sex life, which I just find absolutely brilliant.
I guess a big correlation between the birds and us, and what I even learned when I hosted last season, was that there's a big correlation with that preparation of the next generation. The peregrine was one of the birds that we looked at, and how much actually Dad does a lot of the work in terms of going out and getting food and even sitting on the egg, for instance, and the things that I guess typically with mums in human form we look at as, quotation mark, female roles. In the bird kingdom, the male birds are doing more of that. Even to mate, the males are singing. They're the ones singing, trying to get the female's attention. They're the ones dancing, in other places in the world. They're the ones trying to, really get that first connection, that bond, and being able to mate with another bird. And I think it's it's really funny as well when we look at that, because if we actually saw that in human form, can you imagine as a woman walking down the road and all these men are like singing at you, like I really love you, let's go over there, find a cozy place, I've already got a nest, kind of thing. That is what is happening in the bird kingdom.
City Girl in Nature is a London-based content creator and young changemaker.
The birds teach us that responsibility isn't necessarily a male or female thing, and we can take a lot from that, It's a shared responsibility that takes into raising a bird.